Peace, peace, Oakland. What's up? What's up? Merry Christmas. Everyone out there watching. I'm live, so I'm going to just wait for people to trickle into the room. So if you are watching, welcome. Houston. Oh, yeah, Houston is, whoo, whoo, whoo. Yeah, man. It's going to be a fun episode today. Absolutely going to be a fun episode today. But while we are waiting for people to come into the live stream, and the reason that I've been going live lately is because it's just a lot easier to do the show. It takes a few hours to edit stuff, and then, I got to go back and change everything. And if I'm going to edit it, I might as well make it perfect. So this takes a lot of the pressure, a lot of the pressure off. So I don't have to be so perfect all the time. And I can just give you the information, stream of consciousness, and do my thing and let you guys know what I'm feeling about what's going on. So, anyway, peace. Welcome back to the show. We are winding down season 2. There will be one more episode this year before I take a few weeks off for the holidays and get ready for next year. And that's going to be a great episode next week. Please come back and check in on that. So you may have noticed that instead of our usual 3 times a week cadence, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, for the past couple months, it's been more like maybe once a week. And that is not because there is a lack of stories to tell in Oakland. Far from it. We still haven't even talked about Pam Price running again, brought her puppet back out. We haven't talked about Oakland's elusive encampment abatement policy, championed by the city's most gangster and possibly most effective city council member, Ken Houston, son of Oakland. We haven't talked about a lot. That controversy about the EMP keeps getting pushed back. We also haven't fully unpacked the recent 911 audit by the Oakland City Auditor's Office, and that is just scratching the surface. We also have a lot more clips to break down from our incredible interview with the Oakland City Auditor, Michael Houston, and the deep dive that we took with him into the city's precarious finances, and plus a couple other stories that I've been wanting to share. But keeping this ambitious schedule takes resources. And as you know, Gotham Oakland is largely a self funded operation. Now, cameras and lighting are one thing, but time is another. And nothing is more valuable than our time. Now, I personally chose to spend a lot of time the past couple of years, a lot of my own time, exposing corruption in Oakland City Hall. And that work matters. But the truth is, it hasn't always been the most financially responsible way to spend my time earning a living. And I do have to earn a living. So the bottom line is this: if we want more independent media, we have to support it. Now, many of you have been incredibly supportive of Gotham and Oakland. We raised a few $1,000s, I think, our last fundraiser, maybe two. It wasn't that much. But hey, I appreciate every bit of it. And while I do appreciate everyone who has contributed to keeping this show alive, including just liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, that does help. And thanks to your support, we will be back for season 3. But we're going to shift permanently to a once a week format and hopefully feature more in depth interviews with Oaklanders who are working to save a town. So there are a few things I want to talk about today. First and foremost, flock cameras and my thoughts on them. I'm going to give you my thoughts on this whole thing, deep dive into this whole flock camera fiasco. I have some nuanced takes that I think that people need to hear. As we approve 2 more years of the flock license plate readers. Another major question we're going to be talking about today is Costco coming to Oakland? We're also going to talk about how the city is now charging for parking on Sundays and why I think that happened. And finally, we're going to take a look ahead at next year's election landscape, especially with the Oakland mayor race looming. So let's get into it. If this is your first time, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys all for, tuning in. I'm going to answer your question about the $2 million street camera thing. Don't you worry. Sauce guys, saucy. All right. So first, to that point, let me share my screen with a news clip from the city council meeting this week. All right, y'all know I'm queuing this stuff up. Forgive me. I'm trying to. All right, here we go.
Known as flock safety cameras, and that includes a lot of the Oakland City Council. They say that residents and businesses don't have to choose or shouldn't have to choose between privacy and public safety, and that both are possible.
We support flock. We support flock.
At a news conference at Oakland's Fruitvale Village, community activists spoke out in favor of Oakland embracing flock license plate cameras, saying they're critical to keeping the city safe.
We need flock cameras out there to support OPD, to crush this crime wave at City of Oakland.
They urged the Oakland City Council to approve a $2.2 million contract with Flock Safety for city-operated license plate cameras that can be integrated with others run by the state and neighborhood groups.
We need every tool available to be used by the police, by the City of Oakland, so that we could get results.
Supporters say flock cameras are much needed in Oakland, where there are 911 wait times, a severe officer staffing shortage, and a standing prohibition against chases of property crime suspects.
And I've done ride-alongs with the East Oakland Police, and I know how much the flock cameras have helped them personally.
But privacy advocate Brian Hofer of Secure Justice says he believes Oakland police won't play by the rules.
Lawsuits haven't worked, settlement agreements haven't worked, state law hasn't worked, the surveillance ordinance hasn't worked, the use policy hasn't worked. The Oakland Police Department cannot be trusted with this technology.
What we are proposing is stronger guardrails than ever before. Oakland's system will not be used in nationwide searches or used as a backdoor for federal enforcement.
At a City Hall news conference, Oakland City Council member Charlene Wong says the city will strengthen its oversight of the system with the help of independent audits and fines for misusing data.
Oakland cannot afford to be an outlier. Turning off this tool risks making Oakland the easiest place to commit crimes and escape accountability.
Everyone I have spoken to is operating from a place of genuine care for their neighbors and concern for safety. Nobody in this debate is a fascist. Nobody in this debate doesn't care about crime.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So, before we move on, let me give you my thoughts on flock, because I do want to share. I have the city council meeting queued up on the comment section, but here are my thoughts. Now, I've always said that the whole point of the defund police funding, which, remember, we deep dive into Lee Fang's article about the founder of Deep Sentinel cameras funding defund the police, because of course as crime goes up, it makes the likelihood of cities purchasing his surveillance technology greater. Yes, I understand that. And I am not a fan of mass surveillance, and had we had even a modestly staffed police department, I would probably be very passionate against flock cameras. We know where the slippery slope of mass surveillance is leading. We all know where it's leading. But the reality is we have less than 35 officers on the street of Oakland at any given time. We simply do not have enough physical bodies to cover the city. And we know that demonstrably these cameras have helped bring down crime at least a little bit. And also, and we'll talk about this when we watch this video that was showed during city council meeting, we know that criminals are worried about the flock cameras. We heard it straight from criminals' mouths that they've only been caught later after the fact due to this technology. So if Oakland, California is the only city in the Bay Area who does not use this technology, then you can draw your own conclusion as to what may happen with people continually to pick on Oakland as a place where anyone can get away with anything. That's the word in the street. If you didn't know that, that's the word in the street. You can get away with anything you want in Oakland if you're a criminal. So it's complicated, but yeah, I'm not thrilled about it. But if I was a city council person, I would have reluctantly voted for it, especially in light of the many businesses who are desperate for anything that can help bring down crime so that people stop playing on their stores and that Oakland can stop this doom loop because our businesses and our tax base is leaving. So that being said, here's what I want to talk about. There was only one person who did not vote for these cameras, Carol Fife. And she did this whole dog and pony show. I'm about to show it to you right now. I'm going to share my screen and show you some of the things that she was doing. And I want you to remember that these flock cameras were being reapproved. So they were already in existence. So ask yourself, how did they get there in the first place? How did Oakland get these license plate readers in the first place? Who put them there? And when did it happen? And was it consistent, this level of dissent, the entire time? The answer, of course, is no. And we're going to get into that. But first, let me show you what it looked like, because I have a tweet about it. Let me see. I'm going to go find a tweet about it. I'm live, y'all. Forgive me. You know, I'm trying to get all this stuff, get my life right. So let me pull up my tweet about it first, just so you understand what I'm saying. It's about hypocrisy. The theme is hypocrisy. Okay? Remember that. The theme is hypocrisy. And I always like to point out the inconsistency. And today we're going to point out a few inconsistencies in my favorite council member, Carol Fife, in her efforts to defund police. Okay, so where is my post at? Come on now. All right, so here we go. Let me share my screen with y'all. And if you're still watching, if you're still rocking with me, thank you. Leave a comment. Please leave a comment. I may post one if it's funny. I really appreciate you guys supporting the program. And after I've been going to Christmas party after Christmas party, I've been getting stopped all over the city when people telling me, thank you for Gotham Oakland. Thank you for making the show. And the love is returned. I appreciate every single one of you for watching. Okay, let me share the tweet that I made after this. All right, hypocrite alert. As you remember, we're all about the hypocrisy. Flock cameras weren't an issue for Oakland City Council member Carol Fife when she was desperately trying to save her buddy, disgraced former Oakland Mayor Shing Tile, from a recall. Here are the receipts, a video of Fife's hypocrisy. Now, we're going to get into that after we show you how Fife was acting this last meeting, and you can decide for yourself, is this legitimate concern, or is she cosplaying as usual as some sort of a revolutionary figure where she pretends to care about things when it's convenient for her? Okay, so here is the actual meeting, and then we're going to go into some of Fife's comments.
And we exclude your Amendment 7.
Makes sense,
You're okay
yeah.
with that?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay. Councilmember Ramachandra.
Sorry, 18 to 20 months, if that is. Owners of record of assessor parcel number 4887672-18 in violation of Oakland Municipal Code, Chapter 12.36, protected trees by illegally. Councilmember Ramachandran.
Enables fewer investors.
They're voting on
Okay,
this.
so Fife had a bunch of questions.
It's called a straw poll. It's in the brown.
Okay, here we are. Let me tell you where you guys are, where we're at. So Carol Fife, there were several amendments issued. Now, there were amendments issued by Councilmember Wong, and there were amendments issued by at-large City Councilmember Rowena Brown. Both of these amendments were about just making sure that Flock did not use any of these stuff that they got to send to ICE or immigration, or, I mean, they weren't really fundamentally impact the deal. And to my knowledge, Flock did not dissent. I think they may have even helped with some of these amendments, the government affairs person. But Fife wanted to issue a bunch of amendments to delay the vote and do a public RFP, a referral for proposals, to start this entire process over. And then she wanted to lessen it to either 12 or 18 months. And so they did a straw poll. Councilmember Kevin Jenkins, who was the city council president, used his authority to call for a straw poll on Carol Fife's amendment, and they all said no. And that's where we're at now. And Fife says some comments here I'm going to play for you, just so you can get a baseline into what she was talking like this week.
Let's go straw poll. So now, if there's no more debate, to the motioner in the second, do you accept the amendments from Councilmember Brown and Wong? Yeah, okay. All right, let's go to a vote. Oh, one more.
Clarifying question. Do you, when they collect, when OPD gets through the chair to OPD, when you get the information from the flock cameras, do humans have to review it?
She always has this, Fife always tries to act like she's all confused and concerned. She's such an actress. This is what I'm getting at. She's like always just like, I'm so concerned. I have to ask all these questions. And she asked a gazillion questions before this. I'm not gonna go back and show them all. But this should be enough to prove my point.
Like investigators?
I'm trying to understand the question, sorry.
So we have cameras.
Yes.
That detect information. What happens with that information in the case of investigating a crime?
If there is a license plate that's known, you'd conduct a search using the license plate information. It would pull up the information of that vehicle, and yes, that would be reviewed by a human. So we're not making investigative decisions based on
AI. So do we have more investigators to have more human eyes on this data?
We do review it. So if say it's related to a robbery investigation, it would be the investigator that's looking at it. But we also are investigators in ceasefire using this technology. They're also reviewing it.
My question is, don't we need more investigators to review the data?
Yeah, we need more
Or because if we
Fife, you
have an
defunded them, you
uptick
freaking
with,
idiot.
the expansion of this contract,
Look at his
don't we
face.
need
Look
more
at his
people
face.
to then get more data to review?
Through the chair. Better, more accurate information enables fewer investigators to solve more cases.
So we don't need more investigators?
The Oakland Police Department, as I have stated previously, does need more investigators, but that does not.
Keep in mind, Fife has already said it's a non-starter this time. There's no way she's going to vote on it. So what she's doing is she's just grandstanding. She's trying to always do what she always does, is try to make herself seem important by asking a bunch of dumb questions. But here's my point. Remember, this isn't the first time we took a look at Flock. So check this out. This is the Flock vote from 2022. This is what the discussion looked like back then. Now, like my tweet said, I'm going to go to the 6:37:29 mark here, and then we're going to see what the difference was in this conversation.
Few questions. I want to reiterate one of the statements that was made by Councilmember Jenkins, and I don't believe that this is a silver bullet. I do believe that American cities are running out of tools to address a broken social safety net, and this is potentially one of those tools, but I'll be able to know through reporting and not just the annual reports that you spoke of, but also some of the audits that Council President Bass mentioned. And so I just want to get clear around a couple things. Number one, the inaccuracy when it happens. What type of oversight would be in place if there was an inaccurate reading of ALPR and an innocent individual or a group of individuals was pulled over? How do we address the 10 to 20% is what I've read is the error rate of some of these cameras? Is there a built-in process for accountability with the systems when the machines don't get it right? I will say I do know people who've been pulled over, and it was a mistaken identity, like machines are not.
You see how she's smiling, how her demeanor is completely different when she's not cosplaying and performing. Here's why. They needed license plate readers to protect Shintile. Remember them celebrating license plate readers after they took this vote? The vote was unanimous, by the way. Let's go to the vote itself. I'm going to let this play for a little while
Perfect.
longer.
And I just want to make sure that we're safeguarding folks. So I have just a couple questions. I don't know if you want to speak to that or you want me to.
Yeah, can I speak on that,
Yes,
Councilmember?
please.
Sorry. So I think I completely agree with everybody here. It's not an end-all, be-all case.
Have to be fair and give everyone the same amount of time. Yeah. And you know, I'm sorry, I want to be fair and give everyone the same amount of time.
States. Do we
To expand our camera network from 40.
today at 6 p.m. on Zoom?
With a vote of 8 ayes. That was your final discussion item. Now you're at council member announcements and then open forum.
Okay. And thank you to all of our staff who presented and worked on that item. Okay, colleagues, announcements. Councilmember Reed.
Yes, thank you, Council President Bass. I have several announcements. The first, and you may be speaking.
Program. And let's be clear that neither of those data points discuss homicide or acts of.
We do.
I'm sorry. I should have had this queued up. It's really hard to get it accurate because it's like you can't see where the camera is. But it was a unanimous vote. That's what I was trying to show you. Unanimous vote. Notice it says flock camera. Subject for OPD license plate readers, funding for license plate readers, and flock contract. Carol Fife voted for this back then. Where was the flock no when they were trying to save the friend from a recall? Notice this is October 17th, weeks before the recall vote. Carol Fife was completely on board with public safety when they thought it could help save their good buddy Sheng Tao from a recall. Okay? Think about that. Think about that. Right? So we're going to move it on. Let's talk about Costco for a minute. Let's talk about Costco. Now, before we get into the video, I was pretty excited to hear about Costco potentially coming to Oakland. Like many of you, I have to drive all the way down to San Leandro, and I would love to see more revenue, more businesses, and more jobs in Oakland. Now, I live in West Oakland. Many of you may not know this, but the only controversy around Costco is that the land around the Army base is already, I think there's a letter of intent and discussions for years about major recyclers whose recycling plants have caught fire in West Oakland, contributing to significant environmental racism and harm to people like myself. That was an issue. So think about that. That's, and I'm gonna. Sorry, I lost my point for a second, but let me connect to that. Remember the whole no coal in Oakland thing? Now, the coal terminal will have brought jobs to Oakland. Huge project. $1 million a year in lease rent, subleasing rent. There was a tremendous upside to the local economy, but environmentalists were concerned about the environmental impact of shipping coal through Oakland, and that nothing would be more important than stopping the history of environmental racism and classism in West Oakland. That's the environmentalists talking. And so they launched a 9-year fight to stop the coal terminal and plant that we lost, by the way, and it's going to ship through anyway. Now, all of a sudden, the environmental concerns aren't even being mentioned. And of course, Carol Fife is the ringleader of this whole situation. Actually, before we move, my bad, y'all. Before we go to Costco, and we're going to talk about it, don't worry, I have to talk about the thumbnail. Ken Houston giving a alleged on a dais to people who were heckling him. So let me give you the full story of why he was doing that. So Carol Fife, and I'm not going to find it in the video because I don't have it queued up, there was a video that Councilmember Houston played. And during that video is when this happened. So first, I'm going to play the video. Ken Houston wanted to show the faces and the voices of people who did not want, who did want the license plate readers. So it was like a 30-minute long video. He only got to play a few minutes. I'm only going to play like 2 minutes of it because it's kind of the same thing for 30 minutes. No, I didn't say peace. I said 2 minutes, AI. But anyway, I'm only going to play 2 minutes of this video. But I want you to get a sense of just like what the video was saying and then why he was getting heckled by the defund police people who were literally heckling the voices of these people that you see. So let me bring that up first. Here's a video produced by Oakland Public Safety Alliance. Here we go.
Have you ever been caught for bipping?
Yes, sir. Well, necessarily caught. I haven't been caught. I've been later tracked down due to, like, you know, camera footage or whatever.
The flock camera system.
Yes, sir.
Oakland police credited a network of cameras in helping them arrest a suspect within 24 hours of the Laney College shooting. And now there's a push to expand the city's flock camera system as a tool to help track down suspects and solve crimes.
The Oakland branch of the NAACP supported the proposed expansion.
Until Oakland can fund a fully staffed police department, the city council must seriously consider the use of cameras to ensure public safety.
We know that OPD is understaffed, and we know they need technology, and we know it works.
Tôi sống ở Oakland gần 25 và gia đình tôi cũng có một cái nhà hàng ở Oakland. Cộng đồng Việt Nam chúng tôi yêu cầu thành phố lắp đặt safety camera để du khách đến Oakland tham quan cảm thấy an toàn và thoải mái.
Cheryl Dugan. I am in District 6 and I am in support of the flock cameras.
Concejales, soy Norberto y vivo en el distrito número 3 y estoy de acuerdo en que instalen más cámaras de seguridad en las calles.
Hi, my name is Sa Stewart and I am a resident and business owner of District 3. I support the flock cameras. Please approve the cameras. Thank you, City Council, for keeping me and our community safe.
Yeah, my name is Wing Chan. I'm a resident in Chinatown, Oakland. I support flock camera installed in Oakland.
Mi nombre es Lidia Arias, vivo en el Distrito 5 y estoy estoy registrada para votar, voto todo el tiempo, estoy apoyando a los concejales.
So anyway, you get the point here. 30 minutes this video is, 27 minutes or so. And it's pretty much the same thing. 5 different languages translated, Vietnamese, Chinese, Spanish, some African people, you name it, men, women, black, white, all these people. And guess what? Everybody ignored it. Well, they voted 7-1, so they could ignore it. But Carol Fife called them right-wingers. This video, which is clearly 27 minutes, Oakland side claimed it was only 10 minutes, even though over 16 minutes was shown during the actual city council meeting. And always, the voices of the people get watered down. And so that's why Ken Houston gave the middle finger. They were heckling him during that video being played of many of his constituents and local business owners asking for more license plate readers. I don't think Ken Houston may have handled it right, but you be the judge yourself. If you haven't seen the news story about it, let me share it right now, then I'll get back to Costco, that story. So, actually, I may have. All right, Ken Houston won't apologize for, okay, let me. Sorry about that. All right. What is this? I don't know why I don't see it. Hold on, my bad, y'all. My bad. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Okay. Ken Houston says he won't apologize for obscene gesture made during meeting. I don't know why it's not. Okay, here we go.
An Oakland City Council member is catching heat for.
What? Unavailable? Oh, wow. Did y'all see that? that was taken down by the uploader. Why in the world would ABC take that video down? Did Ken Houston flex on them and file a lawsuit or something? That's really weird. You don't see that a lot. It's all over the news. I don't know why he took it down, but Ken basically said, I'm not taking back shit. He did not apologize. He said, basically, that's what I'm doing. That's what I was elected to do. The people know what time it is. They elected me anyway. I'm really hood out here, and I'm not your typical council person, yada, yada, yada. I wouldn't have handled it like that, but you know what? That is why Councilmember Houston got elected, because he speaks for the people in District 7 in Deep East Oakland who are fed up with this shit, and they were heckling him. He was getting heckled by a bunch of white woke warriors, a bunch of people, soggies, with tote bags, you know the type. They all look the same. I had some photos of them. I would post them if I had time. But anyway, back to Costco. Who said to chew on gravel? Who said to chew on gravel? Oh my God, I didn't hear that, but that's wild. And progressives are so awful in Oakland, it's beyond comparison. They are. Fuck you. A big middle finger to all these so-called progressives who are really regressive. And yes, they can kiss my ass too. Thank you, Kevin. So anyway, by the way, those cameras called Coach Beam's killer. You didn't hear him care about them then. That's why you didn't hear too much about Coach Beam. The progressives wanted to sort of move past the news cycle because it didn't support them. Now let's look at the Costco story real quick, and I'm going to show you where the hypocrisy comes in. It's going to be clear to you once I show you once again, of course, the usual suspect. Of course, the usual suspect. Carol frickin' Fife, phony Fife, as they call her, fake Fife, as they call her in Acorn Towers. Okay, let's get into it. Costco may be coming to Oakland.
He plans to study a proposal to bring a Costco to West Oakland. Councilmember Carol Fife, who represents that neighborhood, wants the city to develop a former Army base. Part of her plan includes adding a Costco at the 22-acre site.
Now, before she tried to get the homeless with the Army base, with the whole plan with the tiny homes, with evolutionary homes, with no other than Maria Juarez. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. But she moved away from moving the homeless to the Army base, and now she wants to move Costco to the Army base. Fife is really hell-bent on using this space at the Army base for anything but moving these polluters that are in West Oakland, damaging our lungs every day, over to a place where it's safer for them to run their recycling business. That's not a priority for her, saving our community's health. But moving homeless people to the Army base is toxic, by the way. Keep that in mind. The former Army base is it's like a Superfund site. It's extremely toxic. Again, no environmental concerns from Carol Fife. I'm going to get into that in a minute. I'm going to show you what I'm getting at here. But remember, this is Fife's project.
Supporters of her proposal describe the neighborhood as a food desert. There has not been a major supermarket within this area for years. All right, turning now to your forecast. A live look outside across the Oakland estuary for you this afternoon. You can see a little bit of fog is still hanging over the San Francisco skyline, but the Oakland estuary, that is still calm.
That big currently in some rain showers that's inundated the Pacific.
That's it anyway. Let me get to my point then. So Carol Fife wants to bring a Costco to West Oakland. I would love a Costco in Oakland or maybe even West Oakland. I'm not knee-jerk against the plan. I'm pointing out the hypocrisy. So you guys may not remember this, but for years in West Oakland, Carol Fife blocked a major housing developer that would have added over 200 units of housing next to a BART station. So density next to public transportation in a place where we have issues with housing. And it was stopped and blocked to conduct an environmental review. And this is around the use of CEQA. If you're not familiar with CEQA, extortion is what unions do when if you don't use union labor for your project, then all of a sudden you get this CEQA, which is an environmental review, where they will hold you up and stall your plan so that you can't get it done in time. And if you anything about developing or building things, there's a time schedule. Interest rates go up, the landscape changes. Once you take loans from people, from investors, the timeline started, and you've got to finish these projects on time. And so Carol Fife used CEQA to block this encampment. The project hit a wall when a coalition of labor groups, East Bay Residents for Responsible Development, filed an appeal with City Council requesting an environmental review, saying hazardous materials such as benzene, lead, and diesel on the site make it unfit for housing unless removed. Now remember, the Army base is unfit for housing too, but somehow she wants us to shop there. Now, here's the part I'm getting at. Councilmember Fife, who represents District 3, was more apprehensive, and she's quoted as saying, "I'm really concerned about the historic harm of the pollution in the air and water and the ground in West Oakland." Really concerned when it comes to helping her union supporters extort developers to make sure that they have 100% union labor. But no sense of urgency around the Army base and Costco when we need to be moving a major polluter into the lands. I don't know if you know that, but again, that was something that was long been discussed by the polluter there. Now, I don't really, since I'm on the Oakland side page already, I'm just going to go ahead and show you. Oh no, I'm stopping my screen. Let me bring up what I'm talking about here. I'm not going to go to the Oakland side now, but I need you to have. Okay, now let me share my screen. Thank you for bearing with me here. Okay, so here we have
West Oakland. These residents are saying the proposal gets in the way of a long-standing plan to use that land to relocate two notorious polluters. California Waste Solutions and CAS are toxic recycling facilities steps from people's homes.
Really, it smells like burning plastic or something burning that's just like really toxic. Being so close to CAS, I've had more headaches within the last 2 years.
As many people know, the levels of pediatric asthma in this part of West Oakland are 8 times the state average.
When I look around this neighborhood in 30 years, I could point to nearly every house. That house right there, one person has cancer, one person died from cancer. This house over here, cancer. House next to it died of cancer. House next to it recently had a stroke. Across the street, skin disease.
Maybe I voted only 2 months ago, the plant caught on fire and I was coming home from BART and I saw fire trucks. Stay indoors. The plant's on fire again, and the toxic smell is beyond belief.
The city made an agreement with CAS and CWS to relocate these facilities to the Army base over 10 years ago. But the Costco deal could put it off the table. What do you think should happen at the Old Oakland Army base? It's on the agenda at tonight's City Council meeting. You can also learn more and share your thoughts at the Community Forum this Thursday, December 18th. Learn more at the link in our bio. Have you heard about the proposal to bring a Costco to the old Army base?
So, where is Carol Fife and her concerns now? Where is Carol Fife and her concerns about our environment now? This is what I'm talking about. When they need to have a public safety stunt to keep the corruption tower in office, Carol Fife is all for flock cameras. The moment it's no longer politically convenient for her, she doesn't care about flock cameras. When it comes to blocking a development because they hate developers and they wanted to have union labor, then she uses CEQA environmental review, and she's so concerned about environmental concerns in West Oakland. When it comes to adding a Costco and stopping a plan to move polluters over there so they stop polluting our lungs, she doesn't care. She doesn't mention it. Because Carol Fife is a hypocrite. You guys getting it yet? Are you getting it yet? Okay, what are we going to talk about next? What are we going to talk about next? I would talk about the teachers union, but yeah, that's a mess. Oh, next mayor of Oakland. Was that it? There was one more thing. Oh, Sunday parking fees. That's right. They want to bring Sunday parking fees to Oakland. And a lot of people aren't happy about that. So, yeah, let me cue up that video. Now, the excuses that they're giving are hilarious. They're saying that they want to start charging for parking on Sundays because it will help increase business. Yes, you heard that right. Their hypothesis is there's so many people shopping in downtown Oakland that has, I don't know, I thought it was a ghost town, but the city's hypothesis is so many people are shopping in downtown Oakland that they need to charge on Sundays so that people have to move their cars more often to free up more parking for all these mythical shoppers who are spending so much money downtown shopping at a bunch of closed businesses. I'm not quite sure. But the people don't see it the same way. Obviously, they're doing it because the city's broke and we need more money. But anyway, let's see what the people said. All right, 16 seconds, bear with me, and we will play the video. You know, ads for everything. No ads on Gotham Oakland. You don't have to use pun-paid ads, but you should contribute so I don't have to do that ever. I won't ever do that, don't worry. All right, here we go.
As one's on the way out, another is oftentimes on the way in. And soon, you'll have to pay to park every day in Oakland, as the city says it will be charging drivers from the hours of noon to 6 p.m. on Sundays.
We'd like to keep these spaces turning over. They're not really meant to sit and park all day.
Josh Rowan is Oakland's Director of Transportation. He says by charging for parking, local leaders believe they'll increase the flow of traffic, allowing more people to visit nearby businesses. It'll also help Oakland raise funds for its projected $40 million budget deficit.
The city says the new parking rules will raise about $1.3 million every single year. But people on the streets that we spoke with still say they aren't happy about it.
I wouldn't like it because we already pay enough.
Resident Sandra Barfield tells us she would like to see the city find other ways to raise revenue, an opinion shared by people like Goldie Daly, too. Daly says Sunday is her day to do errands, but worries she won't be able to go out as much if she now has to pay to park.
As a senior and on a fixed income, it's a big deal.
Others are more accepting of the change. Charles Franklin says he doesn't mind paying a little money if it's used to help living conditions in the city.
Problems with the roads, problems with the people unhoused, whatever amount of money we all can chip in a little, we can maybe start solving some of those problems.
In addition to the new Sunday rules, Oakland says it's been stepping up enforcement of current parking regulations. And Rowan says his department remains flexible.
We monitor these situations. We believe there will be improvements if it doesn't pan out the way that we anticipate. We'll certainly address it as appropriate.
There will be a 30-day grace period for drivers once the new charges begin next month. In Oakland, Tim Johns, ABC 7 News.
Now, the owner of Everett & Jones spoke out and said that it will hurt their business, Sunday being their busiest day. And now it's usually double parked over there, if you remember. Why do I have to lie talking about it's going to increase business to charge for parking on Sunday to free up more room like people really going downtown? Why do I have to lie? Just say we broke and we need the money. We'll respect you more. Just say we broke and we need the money. All right, I'm gonna end with some predictions, and I'm gonna do an episode on this next year. But let's talk about next year's election cycle. Now, you know we have the even number districts, 2, 4, 6, mayor and city attorney are all on the table for this year. And I personally think that the next mayor of Oakland, if nothing changes, and remember I said this first, it's going to be this guy. That's who I think the next mayor of Oakland is going to be. That is District 1 council member and former Oakland firefighter and union director, leader, whatever, Zach Unger, who is a progressive. Although he's been voting pretty moderate lately, including for Flock, where he didn't say much at all. And that's why I think that they're angling to get him in as mayor, because Barbara Lee, blah, blah, Lee, is obviously a food blogging disaster. She doesn't have a clue about what the heck is going on. And it's not like the other seats are going to move much. 2 that is Charlene Wang. Charlene Wang won in the special election because Nikki Fortunato Bass won her bid for Alameda County Board of Supervisors. Charlene is probably the hardest working, at least when it comes to campaigning. She is a very hard worker. I don't see anybody outworking her. She just got elected. People seem pretty happy with her. She actually polled higher than every other city council member in a recent poll done by the Chamber of Commerce. And so I don't see anyone beating Charlene. If she runs again, which she very likely will, she will win. Then moving on to 4. 4 is Janani Ramachandran. I'm not the biggest fan of Janani, but she ain't going nowhere. Anybody beating Janani, I don't see it. The unions may try to run someone to the left of her, but District 4 is the most moderate district, if you remember. District 4 voted in the biggest numbers for both recalls. I don't see anyone from Soggy Land beating Janani. She seems to be right in the middle of the road, and will, if she runs again, which doesn't look like she won't run again, she will win. Moving on to District 6. Who's going to beat Kevin Jenkins? Anybody beating Kevin Jenkins. So Kevin Jenkins will win. Again, if he runs again, Kevin Jenkins will win District 6. City Auditor Michael Houston will win City Auditor if he runs again, which he said he would on our program. I don't see anyone challenging him and beating him, which brings us to the mayor. I know that Blah Blah Lee has filed and everybody thinks she's running again for mayor, but I just don't see it. She's going to be 80 next year. I don't see her running for mayor of Oakland after all of this and dealing with that. She went to claim victory. They're going to try to push some charter amendment through so she can claim victory, and then she's going to try to pass the torch to, I believe, Zach Unger, who has been working very hard to sort of stay off of anyone's radar for anything controversial, and also working hard to sort of just do the job. For example, he is the #1 city council person when it comes to responding to public records requests. He's the only compliant city council person who has not exhausted any legal deadlines for responding to public records requests. He has voted for all public safety initiatives. He's ignored the progressive talking points. And let's talk about the progressives for a minute. Notice how they never seem to ask Barbara Lee what she thinks about anything. Barbara Lee's already refused to vote on something that passed. We didn't talk about the fact that the city council made it more difficult for the public to participate in civic government. And Barbara Lee did not break the tie before. And you go, Zach responds to all emails. There you go, see? Zach Unger want to be the mayor. I'm telling you, I see it coming. I don't see anybody that can beat him. And Lauren, there's no way Lauren's going to be able to beat Zach Unger. So unless, somebody like Marshawn Lynch, and I don't know. I don't see it. If Zach runs, he likely wins. So hopefully he will be a better mayor than he was. Let me not say that. I was going to say that he was a firefighter union leader, but his job as the firefighter union leader was to bring better benefits to his constituents. And he did that. I think that he harmed the city's budget in the process, but his job wasn't at that time to protect the city. It was to advocate for his members. And again, I believe he did that effectively. Now that his job is to represent the city of Oakland as a city council member, in my opinion, he's been doing an okay job as that as well. I don't have any significant complaint. So anyway, that's just my prediction. Let me know your thoughts. I'm about to sign off, but everybody's giving Barbara Lee a pass. No one's asked Barbara Lee what she thinks about Flock. Why not? She could have had to break a tie vote yesterday. Would she have skipped that tie vote too? Probably so. Because she doesn't want to vote on anything. Does she even live in Oakland or is she in Palm Springs? What's going on with our mayor? What is really going on with our mayor? Anyway, shout out to City Council. That was a hard vote. Shout out to City Council President Kevin Jenkins for kicking out people out of the City Council meeting and not allowing any more bullying from the progressives. That's great. We need more of that energy. We need a responsible government where people are allowed to express their minds and their feelings without feeling like they're being targeted and bullied by a very small faction of a city who somehow believe they speak for the rest of us, even though every poll and election sort of says different. That being said, if you want to support the program, Somebody asked, why amend the charter if she doesn't want to vote? Good question. So look, guys, okay, before I sign off, and I'm looking for my donation thing for QR code. Okay, I'm gonna put my Venmo code in the upper left-hand corner. I don't have my my PayPal code, but I'll have it up there next time. If you really want to contribute, just email me and I'll let you know how to contribute, or you can click on the QR code. Here are my thoughts about the Charter Amendment. Now remember, in 2022, I ran for Oakland mayor on a charter amendment. And I said that Oakland has a systemic issue, a structural issue with our government, and we need to change the charter. Now, I'm going to show you my receipts. If you haven't seen this before, if you've been watching Gotham Oakland, you already know this, but let me just go ahead and prove it to you. Oakland mayor race, interview with candidate Seneca Scott. Okay, pay close attention here. Pay close attention here. No, we're not giving no money to the Soggy side. All right, so they interviewed me. Right out the gate, first question. Here's the question. In recent years, there have been several examples of tensions between the city council and city administrator. Often, the city council doesn't feel like a city administrator is enacting the policies and laws they've approved. On the other hand, the city administrator's staff often feels like the city council is overstepping or loading up their plate with too much work. If you were elected mayor, how would you repair this relationship? I'm going to read my full answer. And I want you to ask yourself, who else was talking like this in 2022? Who else who was running for mayor even dared to mention the city charter as a critical and fundamental issue in Oakland's deficiencies in our local government? The answer is no one but me. Let me read it. Now, I don't want to make too many assumptions about why people think that there is an adversarial relationship. We need to set things up so that they have healthy communications between these departments. Here is the big issue in Oakland's city structure, and it's been that way since 1998 with the passing of Measure X, which created a hybrid system of government where the mayor has the power to hire the city administrator while the city council maintains power to pass legislation and ultimately the budget. So right in there, there's no political, I didn't say this, they quoted me wrong. What I really said was there's no clear delineation of power. I didn't say political. Because if the mayor has an agenda and that agenda is opposed by the majority of the city council, then they can thwart the mayor's agenda. Ultimately, we elect a figurehead as mayor, and the mayor we elect needs to have the accountability to implement the policies they're elected on without being usurped by the council's legislative power. I'm the only candidate pushing aggressively for a charter amendment for an accountable Oakland. What does Oakland side ask me in Darvo Bongram? You want an even stronger mayor? He said it with a smirk. I wish they posted the video. Here's my answer. I like to use the word accountable mayor. Strong doesn't appear in any legislative charter. That's all marketing, that's all framing. It's not about strong or not strong. It's about whether the mayor has the accountability to implement and the ability to implement the policies they were elected on. And right now, unless those policies are supported by a majority of the city council, the answer is no. So, now all of a sudden, everyone wants to talk about the charter amendment. Where were y'all at 3 years ago, 4 years ago? They don't really care about the charter. They're looking for an excuse, a scapegoat to blame when the city goes bankrupt. They want to say it's not any of our fault, it's the charter's fault, but we changed it, we fixed it. So elect us once again to continue fucking shit up. Don't fall for it. Yes, Oakland needs to change our charter to a traditional strong mayor. Yes, Oakland needs to drop the at-large position that doesn't do anything anyway. That's a waste of time, money, and space, and go back to a 7-district. Yes, I believe that all of the districts need to be at-large, and we don't need districts anymore. But having an even number city council doesn't work either. Again, where was this leadership and vision and foresight in 2022? I had it. No one gives me any credit. Why? Because they want you to continue to believe that I'm this person who doesn't know anything about Oakland government and I'm some crackpot and all of these demonization and reputation destruction, calling me anti-trans and anti-gay and all this other made-up bullshit. It's for one reason only, to stop you from listening to my voice, because not only do I know that Oakland is corrupt, I know where the receipts are, where the bodies are, I have a continuity of knowledge and historical account of the failed policies that got us into the situation in the first place. Even dating back to my time as a union leader and union director with SEIU 1021, where I negotiated contract with SEIU in multiple cities, including the city of Oakland. And also because I've been right for years now. If you go back and you listen to me in 2020 when I was running for city council, if you go back and listen to me in 2022 when I was running for mayor, and fast forward to now, 2025 going on into 2026, every single elected official is trying to sound and talk like me. And they want to memory hold the fact that they used to all smear me for my viewpoints, and now they want to copy me. But that's how it goes, right? First they attack you, and then they do what they attack, whatever. You guys know the flow chart. Anyway, it's getting exhaustive being right all the time. I know, I pat myself on the back. I deserve it. I take a lot of arrows and bullets and stab wounds to bring you guys the truth. And I'm really appreciative of the support that I'm getting. And I'm very, very happy to see the movement pick up steam. We have succeeded. We have gained traction and moderated city council. So now the police abolitionists and Cap Brooks and Carol Pfeiffer and them have no more power. They are alone. They can keep sending paid activists that can scream and cry in city council meetings all they want. It's not working anymore. It's not working. So thank you, Kevin. Salute to you, Gotham Oakland. About to sign out. Love y'all. Peace. Tune in. I have a Christmas episode coming next week you don't want to miss. And take care of yourselves out there, man. This is, you know, supposed to be the happy times. The holiday seasons are supposed to be the happy times. One of the few times I allow myself to exist in a sustained state of nostalgia. I don't allow that too much. It is a luxury to be nostalgic. We should be looking forward to the future and preparing for the challenges that face us. And we have a lot of challenges facing us, not just in Oakland, but in the United States of America. So anyway, looking forward to coming back and talking to you guys more. Happy holidays. Love you. Peace.
Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here.